Hey there, so in this video we are going to understand how the two-dimensional array gets storage in our primary memory. Let's quickly get started. This is one sample two-dimensional array that I have drawn here for our example. You can easily guess that this is of dimension 2 by 3 because it contains 2 rows and 3 columns, right? So that the dimension is 2 by 3. Now the two-dimensional array is basically nothing but collection of multiple elements which are stored inside rows and columns, okay? But when it actually comes to the memory, getting storage inside the memory, each and every element of this array is going to get memory in this primary memory. All right, now we need to understand how and where each and every element of this two-dimensional array gets memory inside this primary memory. So let's quickly understand how the elements of the two-dimensional array gets memory or gets storage into the primary memory. Now there are two ways in which two-dimensional array can get storage into the primary memory. So the first way is called as column measure way, or I'll say column measure storage. And the second way of storing the elements into the array is called as row measure storage. See, I hope you remember from our previous discussion, all the elements of an array are going to get continuous storage. So that is always going to be there. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it is one dimensional array or two-dimensional array. Whenever you talk about arrays, the elements are always going to get storage in continuous manner. Okay, but in this case, the storage of two-dimensional array is little bit different than the storage of one-dimensional array, because in one-dimensional array we just have one single row. Okay, so the one dimensional array itself looks like the primary memory. Okay, so that's why each and every element can be easily stored inside this primary memory, which is like a infinite one dimensional array or a long one dimensional array. But in case of two dimensional array we have multiple rows. Okay, and that's why it becomes little bit tricky as compared to one dimensional array. So we are going to understand in this video how it is actually done for two dimensional array. So let's first discuss about the column measure storage or column measure way of storing the array, storing the two-dimensional array. So what happens in column measure? The elements are stored in column measure way. Okay, so what do we mean by column measure way? See, this is the first column. So if you see the elements from the column perspective, then the first element that we have is small a, then small b. So the elements will be stored in this way. Okay, first element will be small a, second element will be small b. Then we will go to the next column. The next element is small, sorry, the second element is not small b, it is small d. Okay, so I'll erase this one and it should be small d. So small a, small d. Then we'll go to the next column. In next column the first element is small b and the next element is small e. Then we'll go to the next column, third column, and then in third column the first element is small c and the next element is small f. So in this way the elements will be stored. So for example, small a will be stored here, then small d will be stored here, then small b, small e, small c and small f. So this array will be stored into the RAM in this way if the column measure way of storage is getting used by the programming language. Okay, now I'm not saying that C++ uses the column measure way of storing the two-dimensional array. Actually C++ uses the next strategy for storing the two-dimensional array into the memory, which is row measure storage. But I hope you understood how the column measure storage works. Okay, see, this is just an extra information. As a programmer, you actually don't need to worry about how two-dimensional array actually gets storage into the primary memory, but this is just for the extra information. This is just to help you to become a super programmer, because everyone will know how to create array, how to store elements into the array, but there are very few people, or there are always going to be very few programmers who actually know how the arrays or how things works internally. Okay, or there are very few people who actually dare to think about it. So uh, don't worry too much about this topic, it is just for the extra information. Okay, now let's move to the row measure storage. Let's understand how the row measure storage works. Let me erase this thing from here, let me clean it a bit. Okay, see what happens in row measure storage. It's very simple. See, in row measure storage, we store the array elements from the row perspective. So this is the first row. So these elements or elements which are present in first row will be stored first. So let's say we are getting storage from this location. So small a, small b, small c. We are first storing the row, the entire row, first row. Then we'll go to the next row, which is this row, and then we'll store all the elements of that row. So it is D, E and F. Let's say we have one more row, let's say G, X, Y. Okay, the third row, let's say. then that row will be stored over here, gxy. So this is called as row measure way of storage. So C++ uses row measure way of storage. Okay, always remember C++ is going to use row measure way for storing the two-dimensional arrays into the memory. So I hope now you got how two-dimensional arrays get storage into the memory. We have two ways, column measure way and row measure way, and C++ uses row measure way of storage. Thank you so much for watching this video.